Okay, so I'm going to do this reading from a Word document, and this is nothing to do with Word. I just thought I'd mention this is something of an experiment because I think when I go to the tab that has the book on it, I may lose you. So let's see whether or not you can see and hear me. But I'm going to attempt to read from my new novel. This is my 8th novel. It's called Skin Game, and it's the sequel to Fear of Flying, which has just been released a couple months ago. So those of you who are fast readers, you may have already got through Fear of Flying, and you know about some of the characters. You know that it was a cozy murder mystery set in New Orleans. Some of the feedback has been that the ending was extremely unexpected, which I love to hear that. I like to give the reader all the information, but at the same time, I do like to surprise you with a bit of a twist at the end. And apparently I was successful there. So this is the sequel. Some of the characters are the same. It's called Skin Game. So here we go. I'm going to try and click now into the manuscript, and I hope that I don't lose you at that point. So I'm now reading from chapter 1. I hope you can still see and hear me. Okay, so what I've said is, this is from the point of view of Ophelia, who is the main character in Fear of Flying. If I were making a movie about that day, I would rewrite it to have a less horrifying ending. The old folks are playing Pity Pat. You know Pity Pat? It's a card game, and some play for quite a bit of money and lose. The first time I played Pity Pat was sitting up for a hurricane party where Wayne invited the neighbors into our house. Those who were born and raised in New Orleans told me it's not a hurricane, child, it's but a tropical storm. But they came around anyway so that we wouldn't feel lonely and afraid while the wild winds roared, to drink Crown Royal and play Pity Pat. That hurricane was several years ago now. I've been living in the US since my fiancé moved us out here from London. I have 2 baby boys, and they were playing with the other little kids. By now I could hold my own at cards. I didn't lose too much. The old folks have set up a card table under the shade tree outside Steve's. Steve's is our neighborhood bar here in Bio St. John. The kids are playing hopscotch in the sun. I wave to my Banksy and Mo, wondering whether they need more sunscreen. Miss Julie totters over and flops into a folding chair. I get myself a drink from inside in my big plastic cup, which I had saved. It was a throw from Mardi Gras. We're all going to a second line nearby later. I say I'll sit out this round of cards as I've already lost enough money. $20 is my limit for a day, and some of those old folks are absolute sharks. Steve himself has come outside and is sitting with the others. There must be 10 of them playing. I'm not sure who he has minding the bar while he's busy. Maybe Wanda or Estelle, both of whom glow and giggle when he asks them for a favor. Somebody has brought a keg. I guess back in England we would say a couple of crates. In Australia, a slab of tinnies, perhaps. It is Lopez who starts the fight. He often balances his Glock on the table while he is playing. As a Brit, I'm still not used to seeing guns being carried around as casually as a tape measure or a powder compact. Lopez grumbles that the dealer is miscounting. The dealer for that round is Mika, who can be a pain. She doesn't know enough to apologize to him. Instead, she argues that he's the one in the wrong. He's too drunk or had too much sun, she tells him, and her dealing is just fine. When he takes up the gun for a horrible moment, I think he will just shoot her in the face. There's a collective intake of breath around that table. You would get shot in Vegas, he hisses at her. With the end of his gun, he is tapping on her cheek, hard enough to leave a mark. She can't move, and the pistol whipping against her wrinkly old skin is the only noise in the hot, bright street. So that's the beginning of chapter 1. I'd like to read a little from chapter 3 now, which gets you into the heart of this original murder mystery that starts the action. So you may remember Miss Julie from Fear of Flying. She assisted Wayne and Ophelia when they were amateur sleuths investigating a murder in their family. She's still doing well, and this is her story, I guess, from the eyes of Ophelia, her young friend. Julie had been writing to her brother as her only living relative, pleading with him to share some of his good fortune with her. She was an old lady now, and life was hard. She needed help around the house, and preferably to move to a better neighborhood. The cheap rent she paid meant that her landlord never wanted to fix anything that broke. Her window shutters were hanging off the hinges, leaving her vulnerable. She feared that there would be a robbery, or that a particularly fierce storm would shatter the glass without the protection of proper shutter panels. Even $1,000 would change her life. Her brother had written back just once. He relented in his old age. "Perhaps at my time of life it is best to get good with God," his letter had read. So when the strange old man had appeared at the party, Julie had assumed, along with everyone else, that it was the brother she had not seen since they were both children. And the rumors around town persisted. The corpse was not that of a man. It was a magical creature that assumed the look of a human, a doppelganger that shape-shifted and fooled everyone that it was Julie's long-lost kin. Charles the cop exploded. "There is no such thing as a skinwalker. This is a simple case of homicide. I will get to the bottom of this mix-up." Everyone remembered the event a little differently. Charles was looking back through the statements. Julie's friend Innocent thought that the guy that showed up looked maybe younger than the 96-year-old brother they had all been expecting to meet. Julie had uncorked the champagne with a pop and had poured out a small glass for everyone. There were 13 of them around that table, so the bottle didn't go far. Everyone had a half glass, just enough to drink a toast with their new wealth. Julie had been calling out for a second bottle. Steve, who has his own bar, had been grousing about the duty on imported booze. "None of you bumpkins has ever visited France where they make this stuff. I sat and drank vintage Tassinger there for $30 a bottle. This we're drinking right here is 3 times more expensive than it needs to be. You pay for the taxes, not the product." Julie's statement had been the most confusing. I knew it was my brother the second I saw him walk in. Much older, yes, and wrinkled and stooped, same as me, but his eyes were the same. They almost seemed to glow. Wanda had given a short statement. She hadn't wanted to go to the party as she never liked Julie much, but she was owed money from a game of pity-pat, and so she wanted to be there if it was true that Julie was now rich. She hadn't liked the brother much either, but it was a shame that he had died. It made her shiver to think they had a murderer in New Orleans. The police needed to catch whoever it was right away. Lopez also hopes the police find the killer before he does. "I'd deal with him," he had said when interviewed. He is asked to check his guns in when he comes to the police station to give his statement. "I don't like that, a man walking around knowing he has taken a life." Or a woman, Charles muses. "We're working on the theory that the victim was poisoned, and poison tends to be a woman's weapon." The waitress who had brought them the champagne was tearful. "The restaurant wants to fire me for this, but I swear I don't know anything about it." "No one asked you to switch the bottles or put anything in the glasses?" Charles is asking her, searching her face for any signs of deception. "Of course not. You think I would do something like that?" He tries to get her to calm down. "You've been working as a waitress for how long?" 3 years, part-time while I go to school." "How easy is it for a customer to slip something in a drink?" "You mean like roofies or something?" "Sure, something like that. Drinks get spiked. You ever seen it done?" "I had to take a training course about watching out for it. This is a party town and you have to be aware. But this group did everything right. They did not leave their drinks unattended. They opened up the bottle and everyone chugged the champagne right away." "Could the glasses have been dirty?" "Everything goes through the dishwasher and then I tend to bring them straight out. We were so busy that night, there wouldn't have been time for anyone to get hold of a glass and put anything in." "Describe exactly what you did to serve those drinks." "I was back in the kitchen. I stopped the dishwasher in the middle of the drying cycle and pulled out the 13 flutes we would need. I put them on one of our round, black, rubberized trays to carry them out. In my other hand, I had the ice bucket with the champagne, the cork still in. I didn't even remove the foil. I remember the glasses were still a little bit too warm to serve the champagne, but we just went ahead. There were barely enough to go around all the tables, so I had to use them." "It was busy that night, you say?" "We were full, and we had a line out the door of people waiting to come in. Friday night, and this group decided to have a party. 13 of them with no reservation. I was going to tell them it just wasn't possible, but then Julie gave me the biggest tip I've ever seen. So my manager squeezed them in." "I guess it was noisy, huh? Did you overhear any of the conversation?" "Not much. I was running around waiting on my other tables. This group kept on telling me they were rich. They were excited, like they'd won the lottery or something. I was happy for them, I guess. Must have made you feel a little resentful, he tried. Here you are, working so hard, and these folks suddenly have a fortune through sheer dumb luck. Not really. I actually enjoy being a server, always have. It's kind of fun. She gave a shiver. I'd never seen a dead body before. He looked so still. Well, what do you think? You want to hear more? I really hope that this live did work when I was looking at a separate document. I'm going to watch it back in a second and see. But let me know in the comments, what do you think's happened? Do you believe in these shape-shifting animals, the skinwalkers? Navajo tradition, I understand. And could that be an explanation as to how there's been this mix-up? The guy that's died, that everybody thought was Julie's long-lost brother, is not him, somebody else. The DNA is inconclusive because he's not registered, not in that state anyway of Louisiana. Can't wait to hear what you think.